The girl was dragged outside by the dog. But you turn around and come back unscathed. He whispered to his mother, "Say daddy will kill you soon." Result: next second, the girl's father hit her mother with his car on the spot. That's the horror movie I'm going to talk about today, When Evil Lurks. Early one morning, 5 gunshots were fired from the nearby woods. The younger brother suspects that someone may have come to the farm to poach, but my brother felt that it should be a revolver. Nobody shoots with a revolver. Worried about danger. So wait until dawn. The brothers just went to check with the hound. However, just entering the woods, they found half a body. The body was amputated at the waist, missing in the upper half of the mountain. There was a suitcase lying around. Inside was a pile of smashed metal instruments. Dee Dee feels that these things are very familiar, but I can't remember where I saw it for a while. In addition to that, there is also a document inside. According to the records above, the other party is going to the house of the neighbor Maria, and it also has a copy of the neighbor's ID in it. This means that neighbors must know who the deceased is. So, they went through the woods. I'm going to ask the neighbors what's going on, but not at the door yet. The dog stopped first. Then I learned it from my neighbors. The neighbors are indeed waiting for someone. The other party is a cleaner, specializing in handling cases of demon possession. It turned out that as early as a year ago, the neighbor's eldest son was chosen by the devil and Uriel became Puffy. The church no longer exists. So if you want to solve the problem completely, you have to ask a professional cleaner to handle it. Never let the puffiness die before then. Otherwise the disaster will spread like a plague. So even if the eldest son became like this, neighbor, Maria is still taking care of it carefully. Just a year ago, when it first happened, they informed the relevant departments. It's only now that the cleaners are sent over. The brothers then took the matter to the police. But the sheriff said it was out of their hands. They also have to continue to report. Now, demonic possession is not that unusual. But here's the strange thing. Why did the devil choose such a remote place? Because usually, demons prefer to choose human density. The place where the collection is born is right. To avoid damaging the town's reputation, the mayor wants them to stop talking nonsense. If you are not at ease, you can move elsewhere first. Wait for the official to send a new cleaner. Move back after handling it. Thinking of the cleaner being killed last night, the younger brother suspects some people may not want the puffiness to be dealt with. The farmers believe that this must all be the government's fault. The purpose may be to take away his land. At dinner, the farmer gets angry. Then he immediately went to his neighbor's house. I plan to solve this scourge with my own hands. But the devil is not only not afraid, instead, I hope he will do it soon. Because as long as you die in your belly, the demon body can descend in advance. Thinking of the last time I waited a year, only the official dispatched cleaners. The farmer obviously didn't want to wait that long in order to preserve their land, and it doesn't kill the puffiness. So, he thought, you can send the puffiness elsewhere. Originally the Pedro brothers did not want to participate, don't want to take the risk, but the reality is that his family lives in town. Once the disaster spreads, no one will be spared here. Eventually, the brothers decided to join in. They're going to use the sheets to drag the puffiness outside, but only moved a little. The puffy mouth and nose gush out of agriculture. During the process, my brother saw the bullet next to him, and a bullet means the neighbor has a gun. This also made the younger brother wary of his neighbors. And together they dragged the puffiness onto the car, and it drove more than 300 kilometers as soon as it opened. But my brother wishes he could throw it farther. The plan went so well. The farmer was very happy. However, just as he turned to praise his brother, but almost hit pedestrians on the road. And so they walked for another 20 minutes. It was already a long way from their town. It's very remote. It was only when they got out of the car that they found out the puffiness is gone. They suspected that it must have been when they were avoiding their lover just now. throw the puffiness out, but even so, it is also more than 300 kilometers away from their small town. Finally, the farmer decided to let it go. There's no need to go back. It was evening when I came back. That night, my brother took a long bath, and the younger brother looked at the bullet and froze. Then they moved the deputy director, sneaked it back from a neighbor's house. My brother said the gunshot that night was a revolver. Coincidentally, this bullet is also a revolver bullet. Could it be that it was the neighbor who killed the cleaner the night before? As for the metal instruments found next to the corpse, my brother still can't remember where he saw it before. Although the day was generally going well, but the farmer was always upset. It turned out that the next day was just dawn. The wife noticed that something was wrong with her flock. A ram was staring at them. Not even a shot was fired to scare him away. This moment, the farmer seemed to see that the feet of the devil. Wife worries that he can't stand provocation. Shoot the ram. So he hurriedly got the axe for chopping wood. Because there are rumors that never use anger. Killing animals by bison. Otherwise, there will be immediate retaliation. However, while hesitating, the young mirror slowly moves forward. Put your head to the muzzle. Facing provocation, the farmer just pulled the trigger. Fell to the ground by a ram in bison. Just the next second, the wife slashed the axe at his head. The rumor turned out to be true. Kill the possessed with a firearm. You will be retaliated against immediately. After the wife hacked the farmer to death, he turned his head and slashed the axe at his face again. This night, the shadow moves on its own. The younger brother feels very uneasy, and the neighbor's youngest son come to them for help too. It turned out that his mother suddenly disappeared. Try to go to the farmer's house to find it. It turned out that the farmer and his wife were both dead. The neighbor's youngest son suspects these may all be related to movement edema. The neighbor's youngest son is afraid to go home alone, hoped to spend the night with them. Just to be on the safe side, his brother demanded that he surrender his weapon, and he carried. It was a .38 revolver. Brother allowed him to spend the night in the stable tonight. And the other person reminds them, never use electric lighting at night, because demons lurk in the shadows. Didi doesn't believe what the other party says, because he doesn't believe neighbor Maria will leave the child behind. Leave by yourself. Go back inside. The brother withdrew the bullet. But now there are only 5 shots left in the gun. This means that neighbor's youngest son probably just used one a while ago. In fact, my brother didn't want to move the puffiness at first. Now the farmer is dead again. Something's wrong. So the next day, at dawn, the brothers are going to town to pick up their families, leave this place together. My brother is looking for his ex-wife who has remarried, and the younger brothers would pick up their mother from the nursing home. Came to my ex-wife's house. Pedro hurriedly stripped off and changed into new clothes, for fear of bringing the disaster on the farm here. Just in the process of taking it off, the dog was the first to notice the abnormality. Subsequently, Pedro told his ex-wife about the farm. Said there was a puffiness here. He hopes the ex-wife's family can leave town with him. Of course, he mainly wanted to take his children away. However, the ex-wife not only did not believe it, and also asked the current husband to call the police to chase him away. As a result, when the two argued, the dog suddenly pounced on the little daughter next to him. And when they found out, the dog has forced the little daughter to run outside. Because the youngest daughter was born to an ex-wife and a current husband, so compared to, the current husband also appears more anxious. He was going to shoot the dog with a shotgun. Pedro reminded him never to use a gun. And the other party obviously can't listen to this, until a gunshot rang out not far away. Realize that the situation is out of control. Pedro plans to take your 2 children away first. Only when he came back, found the little daughter who had just been stolen. I have already returned home first. And the strangest thing is, the youngest daughter has no scars on her body. Pedro knew it must be the devil at work. So he used the excuse of going to eat ice cream, took the kids to the front car. Then the little girl suddenly spoke. Said Dad would kill you later. Turns out Pedro just got out of the garage. I witnessed my ex-wife with my own eyes, killed directly by his current husband. The little son crouching in the back only heard the sound. I don't know what happened. But the eldest son who has difficulty moving. But I was forced to watch the whole process. After leaving his ex-wife's house, they immediately went to the nursing home. I picked up my brother and old mother. See, only children and no good wife. The brother and mother sensed that something was happening. On the way, the brothers will. I told my mother about the puffiness found on the farm, but the mother reacted the same as the police. I don't understand why the devil chose this poor village. The mother of the remote land suspected that they might have made a mistake. Actually, my brother is not 100% sure that it is puffiness, but my brother had no doubts. In fact, most people have never seen a demon possessed. However, rumors about this are very common. For example, after being possessed by a demon, 7 rules to follow. 1. Do not use electric lighting, because demons lurk in the shadows too. Do not approach animals, because animals are more susceptible to being possessed than humans. Do not touch anything around the possessed person. Because of the disaster brought by the devil, it will spread like a virus. Do not harm those who are possessed. Don't call out the devil's true name, like Lucifer, Bessie, Azrael. Wait. 6. You cannot kill the possessed with fire. Otherwise, there will be immediate retaliation. And the last rule of thumb is this: never be afraid of death, because the devil is good at taking advantage of people's fear. Just after the mother said, no one noticed. The eldest son kept repeating it at this time. The name's Lar, Azrael in Islam, the angel who rules life and death. He was wearing fur. There are countless eyes inside. It is said that he will transform the world. Everyone's name is written on the leaves of the tree of life. Every time someone is about to die, the leaves with names on them wither and fall. And once Azrael pronounces the name above, then this person will die in 40 days. Because it's too urgent, bring nothing. So much so that I don't have enough money to buy an ice cream. Then my mother's phone suddenly rang. And the person who called was actually the ex who had just been killed wife. It turns out that Pedro and his brother came out with nothing. Yes, that's why the call reached my mother. But Pedro knew it. It can't be the ex-wife on the other end of the phone. The devil on the phone used the tone of his ex-wife, deliberately bring up those unbearable past events, call him a piece of crap. That's why the ex-wife cheated. And there's more than one cheating partner. Then the possessed ex-wife warns Pedro. Say, I know where you are. I'll be there in person later to pick up the baby. Although I know that the other end of the phone is not my ex-wife, but what he said still made Pedro regret it. Because if he and his brother choose to go directly, don't go to town, the ex-wife might not have died. The current situation is that the town dare not go back, running away with no toll. Critical moment, the younger brother thought of an old friend. The other party not only knows a lot about demons, and you can borrow some money from him. The other party's name is Murda. There is no electricity at home. Others are readily available. So even if it is a long-term stay, there is no problem at all. My brother hopes to live first and then grow his memory. But Pedro has to stick to the original plan. Get to town as soon as possible. But since Murda's money is all in the bank, if you want to withdraw money, at least wait until Monday. So, anyway, I definitely can't leave today. Besides, at this time, the eldest son also pulled awesome in his trouser pocket. Then my brother found the puffiness on the farm. Told Murda. But he wasn't sure if it had anything to do with the devil. Murda told him. Demons appear with many strange phenomena. You know, babies don't cry. Shadow that moves by itself, or an abnormal animal. Coincidentally, the night before, my brother sees the shadow and moves by himself. Because the autistic eldest son refused to get out of the car, so Pedro can only stay in the car tonight. As for his brother's old friend's name, even if they have had lovers as teachers and students. At that time, the younger brother was said to be only 16 years old. Come to the car, Pedro discovered. The eldest son didn't know when he drew a picture. The sun in the painting has just risen. There were people in the open space. But here's the weird thing. One of them is all red. Late at night, people just fell asleep, and there's this guy out the window. Although the eldest son is awake, but he couldn't make a sound. No way to wake anyone up. Pretty soon, Merton noticed the shadow moving on its own. And when Pedro's mother woke up, I saw that the little grandson had been taken away. And he called for Pedro. Come to the room. He discovered that the one who took the youngest son was really the ex-wife, but the scars on the other party's face still exist. Only the next second, the ex-wife jumped off the balcony with her young son in her arms, and when people follow, the other party has long since disappeared. The eldest son in the car is fine but the outside of the car is already covered in blood. For the convenience of finding someone, Pedro told his brother to get the flashlight quickly. And when my brother just wanted to go looking for someone with his brother, Murta told him, the devil is in the eldest son's body. Original. The devil has already invaded the eldest son's brain. Autism trapped him inside. Can't break free. However, in theory, this state will not last long. When the devil is free from bondage, the eldest son's body will be completely manipulated. Murta let the brothers go back inside and devise plans, because blindly chasing can only die in vain. Original. Nerdo was a professional cleaner. Previously, my brother felt that those metal instruments looked familiar, just because I saw him here, and these are essential tools for real-time cleaning. Demons are good at reading people's fears. What are you afraid of? The more he scares you with something, and the reason why the devil can find it here, it is also because he smelled the fear in Pedro's heart. Fear because Pedro is afraid that the child will be taken away. But the more afraid you are, the stronger the devil. So the task of finding the youngest son later, it must be handed over to the younger brother. Pedro has to go with Murta to find puffiness, because only the puffiness can be dealt with. Stop the birth of the demon itself. The disaster will not continue to spread. Remember that day I almost hit a pedestrian in transit. Brothers guess. It must have been accidentally puffy at that time. Throw it out. Before departure, Merton noticed that the direction of the town was pitch black. This gave him a very bad premonition. But then again, such a remote town. It's not normal if it's not dark in the middle of the night, right? On the way, Murta recounts her past. It turned out that his husband was a pastor at the time. They both own a church. They used to exorcise demons. Only those possessed. They're paid actors. Until one day, the devil really appears. The possessed person comes to the church. The family that ate him, piece by piece, spit it out. See this scene. Murta finally realized, when demons can swagger into churches, that means God is dead. Then came the little king of the church. Then hordes of demons began to emerge. Maybe to make up for it in the name of God. Swagger. Sins committed. So Murta and her husband, he started working as a cleaner. They learned some skills from the monks. Can kill the demon before it is born. It didn't last. Soon the demon realizes the threat. And then, the number of cleaners killed gradually increased. And the movie begins. The half-body found in the woods. This is the case with the body. Then one day, husband went to the purification ceremony and didn't come back. Murta guessed that the devil had their eyes on them. So, he left town. Hide. To a place where I can't even name myself. Life Murta doubt. This demon is probably after him. But Pedro doesn't understand. If it's for you, then why did you take my son? Murta told him. That's because you're the one who's afraid. It's the fear in your heart that attracts the other person. At the same time, my brother has been looking for a long time. Finally, on the way back to town, I found my brother's ex-wife. But after catching up, I found out brother's ex-wife, eating the brains of their youngest son. This scene made my brother instantly angry. He stepped on the accelerator and slammed into the opponent, until I hit a tree. The car finally stops. Brother was hit on the head and bleeding, but his brother's ex-wife, who was vaguely divided, questioned him. "Why would you do that? You said you loved me." My brother actually had an affair with my brother's ex-wife. The other side, the eldest son who has been unable to take care of himself since he was a child. Suddenly I got out of the car and came into the house. He told his grandmother that he was hungry. See this scene. Of course the old mother knew it was the devil's work, but helplessly, at this time, only the two of them were left at home. I don't know how long it's been open. Pedro finally found the way. They lost the puffiness. There is a primary school not far from here. Now, the devil likes to take advantage of children. And the blankets on the side of the road, it's the same one they used to carry the puffiness. It was pitch black in the school, but fortunately, there are insects and birds nearby, because once the demon body is injured, the first thing he does is devour the sounds of nature. It will become a dead silence. Although it is late at night, but the children never left them. Not moving at all. Ask where the vice president is and they don't answer. Saw a child putting lime on his mouth. Tomorrow he smelled a stench instantly. It turns out that these children have long been controlled by demons, so from their mouths, impossible to get useful clues. At this time, a boy came from outside pushing a bicycle. And the other party was exactly when the puffiness was shipped, the one I almost hit. Learned they were looking for puffiness. The boy told them. Puffiness is now in a teacher's house, just over the roundabout not far from here. Pedro was convinced. But Murta felt that there must be an explosion in it. Maybe the devil noticed. Murta didn't win. Then another girl came. Tell them the boy just now was lying. Said the puffiness was not in the teacher's house at all, but in his own home. The devil's operation. Let the dull Pedro find the problem. He pushed the girl down in anger. Then they start slapping each other. Based on the behavior of these children, Milta District Book puffiness should be here. The devil wants to trick them into leaving. It should be afraid that they will hinder the birth of the main body. You know, these kids are covered in lime. Coincidentally, it is also available on the stage of the small auditorium, and the stage clearly shows signs of being dismantled. It wasn't until Pedro pried the board open that he found out. It turned out that it was already full of adult corpses. There are teachers and parents, and this time, the group of children have all come to the door. See this pile of corpses? Murta guessed that the puffiness must be down there. But the girl who had just been slapped rushed over. Tell Murta to leave quickly. They say it's very dangerous. The devil is trying to lure them here. Just Murta at this time. It's impossible to believe what these kids say anymore. And they work together. Murta begins to assemble the props for the cleansing ritual, and Pedro needs to take apart the planks, remove the puffiness inside. Because later, you need to stick this arm into the back of the puffy. Neck is fast. Pedro found the attached high school from the pile of corpses, but he had a hard time getting it out himself. During this period, he even wanted the little girl to come and help, but Murta reminded him, don't let those kids near anymore. At this moment, the puffiness suddenly opened his mouth to speak. He brought up Pedro and his ex-wife on purpose. Those unbearable past. Ex-wife cheating. Pedro had thought about killing children and things like that. These puffy words succeeded in irritating Pedro. And the little girl next to him reminded him. There's a fire axe in the office next door. If you get it, you can split the stage and make it puffy. Murta warns Pedro not to trust girls. Don't leave him here alone. But Pedro was carried away by anger. He ignored Murta's advice. Go straight to the next room and cancel the embalming. But when I came in, I found that the box was empty. The axe is not here at all. Until I found the door locked. He realized that he had been deceived again, and Murta at this time, being dragged outside by the group of children. And you're dragging. Someone hit him on the forehead with a hammer. When Pedro broke the glass and came out, all that was left was the blood of the drag. Then the puffiness suddenly popped out of the head, calling out his name. And this moment, the anger in Pedro's heart also broke out completely. He picked up ritual objects from the floor and smashed it on the swollen head. Once or twice. Until I saw my puffy head smashed, Pedro finally calmed down a bit. At this time, a blood-red body was ripped out of the puffiness. Out. And the kids came back from disposing of the body, and a satisfied smile. The devil is a boy covered in blood. Successful birth means the end is near. The devil did not harm Pedro, and left a mark on his forehead. It was light outside, and the kids went with the devil. Go far. And this scene is the painting of the eldest son, and the scene depicted in the classroom window painting. After, Pedro returns home to Myrta alone, and my brother has already returned here first. The youngest son could not be saved. The old mother also disappeared inexplicably. The only thing that makes them feel relieved is the oldest son's autism appears to be improving. The brothers returned to the farm that day. When I got home, Pedro gave him first. The son took a box of his favorite ice cream. Then I went to take a shower by myself. But in the process, he discovered the mark on the forehead can't be washed off no matter how you wash it. At the same time, my brother also noticed the revolver on the table is missing. One less bullet. He guessed that the youngest son of the neighbor must have taken it. The night before we left the farm, the boy who came here to ask them for help. At that time, Pedro allowed the other party to live in the stable. But a few days passed, the boy still hasn't left. And after meeting, he also told his brother the truth of everything. It turns out that the night the government sent the cleaners over, there's always a voice in his head. Forced him to kill the cleaner. So, he did. That's the gunshots at the beginning of the movie. He then chopped the cleaner's body into pieces. Some of it was fed to pigs. I ate some of it myself. And that's what happened to his mother. That's our neighbor, Maria. The other side of this moment, Pedro discovered the eldest son seems to have returned to his original life. A state of being unable to take care of yourself. Even eating ice cream can make you vomit. But soon he realized something was wrong. Because the eldest son didn't just spit out ice cream, and the hair in the old mother's necklace. Original. Their brothers' mothers have also been eaten. So it suddenly disappeared. Now that I know the truth, except for acceptance, they didn't seem to have any other options. So far, the movie ends when the plot of the evil lurker. Memory finished. Here we go. Let's talk about something that is easily overlooked. In the film, whether it is the mother of the male protagonist Pedro, or my brother's old lover Myrta, they all mentioned 7 laws for dealing with demons. In fact, the male protagonist brother has heard his mother say it since he was a child. Except for Myrta in the film, no one else seems to take that too hard. So the farmer takes the lead in transporting the puffiness. The younger brother stole the bullet from the puffiness. Knowing that there are demons on the farm, it's lit with electricity. Abnormal ram found. Farmers are not only not far away, and killed him with a firearm. The brother who carried Anfurong took a shower when he came back, but the clothes were not changed. He even brought the clothes to his ex-wife's house. Infected dogs. The rules do not allow swapping the real names of demons, but I still called on the way to escape. They spent the night at Myrta's house. Turned on the night light while coaxing the little son to sleep. My brother knew that my sister-in-law was possessed, and killed each other with a car. The male protagonist Pedro found out that he had been cheated. Then he beat up the girl who was controlled by the devil. If no one told me those 7 are taboo, I thought, is that a way to deal with the devil? Almost everyone who doesn't give up their seat has someone do it. Myrta was the only one who followed the rules. Maybe that's why. He has everything at home. It's just not powered on. So that's it. Sometimes failure is not because the opponent is too strong. Regarding the reasons for the divorce between the male protagonist Pedro and his ex-wife, for people in the film mention this. First of all, the ex-wife is not responsible for the male protagonist. Blame him for leaving sick children at home. Run away. The longest time I didn't come back for 4 years. I never sent a penny to my family. Then on the phone, the devil possessed his ex-wife and said, because the male lead has not been home for several years, the ex-wife chose to cheat, and there's more than one cheating partner. There is a high probability that there is a younger brother of the male protagonist. I even doubt the youngest son may be the younger brother's. So, I saw my youngest son killed. It makes more sense for him to be so angry. It was rumored that the male protagonist knew that his wife was cheating. He plans to commit suicide with his children. Almost the whole town knew about it, including his brother's old lover, heard him. However, my brother said that these were all rumors. It was his ex-wife who fought for custody, said that on purpose. But in the end, what the puffiness said confirmed this rumor. That is the male protagonist. I do have the idea of suicide with my children. Demons are good at making up lies, but better at peeking into people's hearts. If this isn't true. After the male protagonist listened, there's no reason to be so angry. Angry enough to want to shut the other person up immediately. The film's story background. It's the devil who can swagger into the church. The church has completely collapsed. People no longer believe in God. And the sentence in it, God is dead. It also reminds me of Nietzsche's Mask. The Hell Witch 3 I talked about earlier. The priest inside once said, in many literary, film and television works, they will use the stories of gods and demons to film and television reality. And I feel the same here. Purpose of, when God dies, it doesn't mean that God is really dead. What he depicted should be. The things we should trust are no longer credible. What should have been hoped for? There is no hope anymore. At first, I might have used the lie of the church to cover up the truth, but in the end, it's even troublesome to lie. So that's it. Thank you for sticking to the present. I like my content. If you like and follow me, more people can notice me. Have a different opinion. You are also welcome to participate in the discussion in the comment area. Thank you for your support. See you next time.